You'll be shocked to find out that working for that man turns out to have been a bit of an ordeal. New information coming from former staffers talking with insiders show that Alex Jones, not necessarily the best boss, not really a level-headed guy, has a bit of a temper, shockingly. And so we're gonna jump into that, including details from Robert Jacobson, who started working for Jones back in 2004, which is absolutely crazy. But before we get to the details though, Benny, it's been a while since I've seen any of Alex Jones's content. I had kind of forgotten just how deranged he actually is.
I mean, you got to remember the classics, right? The rant about threatening to eat people, which was really weird, right? The gay frogs. Who doesn't love a gay frog? Am I right? There's some really good ones out there that I think were pretty strong indicators of Alex Jones going in a direction. But what do you expect? He's waging a war on information, and losing at that.
Yeah, I will. That's true. I will also say that if you want to make the case that America has been, they got some UFOs and they've been using it to develop space age technology, I don't think you should be as evidence talking about weapons. I think you should be talking about whatever is keeping Alex Jones's heart and/or arteries from just coming apart. Because there's gotta be some alien xenotech in that thing, or else his chest cavity should pop like an alien's bursting forth from it. But anyway, here is what it was like to work for Alex Jones, according to Robert Jacobson. So at one point, Robert Jacobson had put up a video from the show, but he put the wrong advertisement for a product. Like it was like Gorilla Paste or something. I don't know what he sells there. Insane stuff that does nothing and costs a lot of money. So Alex Jones runs up on Jacobson in the hallway and jabbing his fingers into the guy's face, he yelled, "You're not gonna ruin me, Jacobson. You're not gonna ruin me." According to Jacobson, Jones had to be restrained by another Infowars staffer in case he actually hurt him. I will remind you, this is because the editor had put the wrong ad in the video. Like, that's amazing. Another former staffer, Josh Owen, says that Jones would get heavily intoxicated. The hell you say? And would badger and intimidate staffers. If staffers questioned Jones, it would send him into a rage where he'd pound his chest, destroy office equipment, and sometimes even physically hurt people. Look, I apologize for laughing. This is serious, and the workers there legitimately were abused by Alex Jones. I mean, physically even abused, let alone emotionally and psychologically and all that. But this is madness. He's like a silverback gorilla, complete with undersized genitals, just losing his mind at any minor inconvenience. Like, it's enough to make me think that he's gotta be on something like roids to have this sort of rage. But this goes back to 2004. And if he had legit been using steroids for the last few decades, you would expect something to have come from it other than just rage. So, and back knee, I guess. I don't know. Benny, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said. I don't know. Alex Jones's audience is really interesting because they're very much the type of people that can't tell the difference between advertisement and content, right? That really is his market. And he really just sells this main character syndrome. So if you run through the world living in a reality of sort of your own creation, or specifically the creation of people like Alex Jones, who just spin all these fantastical tales, create all these ridiculous conspiracy theories, tell people that they're the main character, they're these secret alien people that are coming to get them, or lizard people that are coming to get them. You're gonna have a temper, right? You're gonna be really frustrated at the world because, of course, you're gonna run into a lot of people that think your ideas are silly and are not gonna believe you, right? And you're gonna run into a lot of sort of unsolvable problems at every step of the way. These are the type of people that walk into Target, see a rainbow, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the lizard people specifically targeting me with gay beams into my eyeballs," right? And so, fundamentally, when your entire job is to stoke fear and hatred and things like that, an entire audience of people, I don't know. I think what I'm saying is I think Donald Trump. No, I think Alex Jones's temper is probably very organic, and I think a lot of his audience is probably similarly frustrated.
Yeah, look, I honestly think that if you go back prior to the Trump years or whatever, for the most part, like if I had to say who's more damaging, someone like Alex Jones, who's more deranged than like an O'Reilly or a Tucker Carlson, I would say Alex Jones is less damaging, not universally, like when it comes to like Sandy Hook and stuff like that, really damaging. Some of the anti-LGBTQ stuff is absolutely terrible, but he didn't try to link it constantly to politics in such a clear way. It was just so over the top that I think a very significant portion of his audience didn't buy any of it. They just thought it was entertaining. I had a relative like that loved watching Alex Jones, didn't care about politics, didn't care if it was true. It's just a guy like raging around and talking about aliens and gay frogs and stuff. It becomes more serious in more recent years where they start talking more about shootings and really trying to get people to elect candidates based off of all this. QAnon, of course, was a massive attempt to just take generalized conspiracism and make it like the basis for all politics. That's where it gets more clearly damaging, I think. But anyway, I want to give you a little bit more of the information from the former employees. He had a game that he used to love to play called the punching game. So he would pass a bottle of Grey Goose vodka around his staff, always the start to a good work day. He would then have one of them repeat a made up phrase like succulent plump or juicy giblet. Then the game would turn violent. It's already turned weird. I don't know what any of that is. It seems weirdly sexual, but he would convince someone to hit him by badgering them consistently. And then he would get to hit them back and they would trade punches back and forth. And there were times where people got, visibly injured. He was a very volatile person. His behavior was manic. So 1 second he would be laughing and joking around. The next second he would be in a blind rage. All of this is only the easiest thing in the world to accept. He is an absolute madman who figured out a way to monetize his insanity by just taking the money of his viewers, by selling them brain fuel or I don't know, mostly dick pills. Let's be clear, it's mostly dick related stuff. But so look, if it hadn't become so explicitly political, it could have just been sort of a sideshow, a weird like public access carnival thing. But he did abuse a lot of people along the way. He also, by the way, robbed a lot of people along the way. There's a story. You can find out the full story in Insider, but they talked about how eager he was to take like not just his viewers' monies in general, but like he had this old couple that gave him like their social security check when they said they had no money, and he was like totally down. Like he didn't care at all about draining the last cents out of these people who were barely making do. He, by the way, was pulling in tens of millions of dollars a year. So I don't know, there's a very sick side to this as well. Any final thoughts, Benny?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the reality is pretty much every right-wing pundit at this point is aspiring to be the next Alex Jones, and they're just wondering how close they can get to the line without being dragged into court like Alex Jones was.
Yeah, I mean, Tucker Carlson, I think for the last couple of years has been stealing more and more of Alex Jones's thing. And to the extent that Tucker Carlson has a show on Twitter or whatever, it was random conspiracy. He was talking about JFK, he was talking about aliens, he was talking about all that stuff. I don't know why Alex Jones isn't more visibly angry about this, by the way. Maybe he thinks he's got such like, a chokehold on his audience that he's not worried about them being taken by Tucker Carlson, but they really are stealing his business model.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.